This is Richard Law. This is what, a 31 Duesenberg?
31 Model J, long wheelbase convertible sedan, bodied by Murphy. I've had it for about 25 years.
Oh, okay.
It's always been a California car.
Yeah.
Earliest owner of it was Walter Wanger, the movie producer.
Okay.
And it was in various hands after that. It came down, but it's never really been restored. It's been repainted.
Right.
And the top's been done. And
yeah, it's got a nice patina to it.
It does, and it's fun to drive. It actually runs and drives real well.
Can we open the hood? Can you and see what it looks like? So, see, this is what I like, a car that looks like it's been used regularly. These carburetors always get messy.
They do.
Yeah, they use these updraft carburetors because with a downdraft carburetor, which is obviously better, but they didn't seal as well. So consequently, sometimes cylinder would fill up with gasoline and thing it hydraulic or blow up or whatever it was. So this way, any excess fuel that got past would just drip onto the ground. One of the great engines of all time. And it's nice to see it like this, just nicely maintained. This is, of course, the long wheelbase car. That would make it, what, 153.5 inches? That's what it is?
It has what looks like a cowl, like a Phaeton would have.
Yeah, yeah.
But it has the roll-up windows that
and look at a nice, unrestored, original dashboard. Can you see the yellow and the numerals there, just the way they've sort of faded a little bit with age? It gives it kind of a nice patina. And you've had the car 25 years, 25 right?
25 years, yeah.
But you know, even when they weren't worth anything, they were still worth more than anything else.
They were.
You know.
The lowest price I heard on this car was about as much as the cheapest Chevrolet.
Yeah, yeah. Because I remember that. My dad would always say in the 60s, why'd you buy an old car? For that money you can get a new Cadillac.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it wasn't until the late 50s, early 60s that an old car was worth more than a new car.
Absolutely,
you know, and then that didn't make sense to a lot of people.
It didn't.
And my dad, what do you want to shift? You get an automatic. You know, my dad never quite got it, but I got it. And look at the size of this back seat. Look at this.
It's very roomy.
Yeah, look, yeah. Well, thanks for showing us your car.
You're welcome.
It's a 1935 Auburn 851 Boattail Speedster. It's one of two cars we actually just had done. We just did a 36 852 done as well.
I remember they made a 12-cylinder version as well.
Yes.
And these were pretty reasonably priced. They were not inexpensive, but they weren't as expensive as Duesenbergs or some of those cars.
Right.
This was what they call a real CADS car. This was kind of it wasn't really a sports car, but it was a sporty car. Big 8-cylinder engine. There were so many bad replicas of these done in fiberglass that, you know, people don't appreciate. When you see a real one, you go, hey, is that a real one?
Like the Cobra,
yeah, because the other ones, the replicas are just a little bit off, you know. But this one is, you guys just finished this one Tuesday, right?
Yeah. Just finished. Just arrived to California from Wisconsin.
And you can see, well, the oddball, this really wasn't meant to have a top. It's really meant to be an open car.
Kind of claustrophobic when you're inside there.
It looks a little goofy. It looks like you're wearing a bad hat. But just what a wonderful roadster. Look at this little Art Deco touch here.
You see the texture of the leather?
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. This is Don Nichols, and he is the owner of this beautiful Hispano Suiza. What year is it, 22?
25.
25, okay. I've always been a huge fan of Hispano Suiza. Mark Burkett designed and built this car, and he was, I think, one of the greatest engineers of all time. How long have you had this car?
About 45 years.
About 45 years. Well, okay.
It was a wreck when I got it.
Yeah, well.
I pushed it back in the corner and forgot about it. So about 10 years ago.
Wow, it just looks beautiful.
Well,
you know, and I always like the proportions of these Hispano Suizas. They're not as big and massive as a lot of American cars of the period, but they drive and they handle, and it's one of the best engine and one of the prettiest engine compartments, isn't it?
They are nice.
Look at that engine compartment. 6-cylinder, how many liter is it?
6.5.
6.5 liter, 6, which was incredibly powerful back in the day. Now I have a Hispano Suiza that has a Spot aircraft engine in it. This was also the first car to have a power mechanical brake. Most cars only had rear wheel brakes, and because when you go around a corner, the wheel would turn and the rod would put the brake on if you had it in the front. Mark Burkett is the guy who developed that linkage. It allows you to turn the wheel and step on the brake. So pretty amazing. In fact, everybody from Rolls-Royce to Bentley to Packard copied his patent for that vacuum-operated power mechanical brake. You would think this had power hydraulic brakes on it when you step on it. It's just the most amazing automobile.
Modern car when you're
it really does. It really does. And a beautiful, beautiful car it is. What model is this?
This is a Kellner-bodied Landaulet. It was built for Andrew Mellon's daughter. Andrew gave this to his daughter as a wedding present.
Oh, is that right?
Along with a 110-acre estate on Long Island.
And look at this. I love the little, so you can talk to the driver.
Her husband was ambassador to France and did not like to get up early.
Right.
So they had the seat belt, so the secretary stayed out at the chateau with them.
Yeah.
And the hour driving into the office and back to the chateau again, that was office time.
Oh, that's funny.
The lever here raises and lowers the headlights.
Now look at the fuses down there. It looks like the basement of a New York City apartment building. Those big giant fuses. Don, thank you very much.
Thanks
Beautiful
for coming
car.
by.
You notice almost every other car that we've stood next to, the roof is as high as I am. Look how low this is. Imagine this back in 1930, slinking down the road with front-wheel drive. And actually, the front-wheel drive was not that great back in this particular model.
Crude, yeah.
Because when you go up a hill, the front wheels would actually slip, especially in rain or snow, because all the weight was on the back. It was too far forward.
Yeah.
But design-wise, they were just beautiful. And are these Ruxton headlights?
Wool lights.
Wool lights, that's what they are. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It looks like I know it looks like the Alien movie, but they're actually very cool. I mean, style-wise, this was one of the most beautiful American cars. You know, the Europeans went nuts for the Cord back in 1930.
Oh, absolutely,
I think they won all the Concord de Elegances.
Front-wheel drive.
Yeah,
Many
yeah.
cars more. You know, we didn't.
Yeah.
America really didn't take to front-wheel drive.
No, nicely done. Wow, look at this. What a beautiful restoration. Come look at this dashboard, this Art Deco dashboard. And of course, the rumble seat. Can't put kids back there now, you go to prison, but back in the day, probably one of the oddest gear shifts you'll ever see.
Oh, they stole that from a Renault, you know,
yeah.
Renault 5.
Yeah, look at that. Look how it sticks right out of the dashboard. What is it? You pull it out, then you turn it to the left, turn it to the right, is that what it is?
Yeah, reverse is actually where reverse is, so it's kind of confusing actually.
Yeah, you want to go back, pull it back. Want to go forward, push it forward. There you go. Right. These were a nice 45-mile-an-hour car. Right. Yeah, anything above that starts to get a little dicey.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that sounds ridiculously slow, but don't forget the speed limit was 30, 40 back in the day. Well, here's a fascinating car. You've all seen, well, you've been to my website, you've seen my Mercer raceabout, my 1913. But this is the very last Mercer built from the factory, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, this is Johnny Cromwell. How long have you owned this car?
We only had it a year. It belonged to the previous family for 71 years. So
wow.
We did a restoration in 12 months.
In 1925, right?
Right, 6-cylinder.
Yeah.
And the only Mercer raceabout to ever have 4-wheel brakes. They all go fast. This is the only one that stops.
yeah.
This is an overhead 6-cylinder.
Oh, okay.
Running double plug.
The Mercer story is a fascinating one. You know, the trouble is, after they built the Brooklyn Bridge, they said, let's take a sea voyage. Unfortunately, they picked the Titanic.
Right.
Yeah, and the wrong ship. And then the company kind of changed after that. Before it was kind of fast cars, and then they went to more traditional automobiles with full fenders and things. Boy, you've done a beautiful, beautiful job on it. 4-speed transmission, correct?
No, it's a 3-speed.
Oh, it is a 3-speed. Wow.
But they got 2 extra cylinders.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. The early car was a 4-speed.
Right.
But Americans did not like to shift. And it was actually a selling point back in the day that this car only needs 3 gears to do what other cars need 4 gears to do.
Correct.
We think of a 4-speed as being real sporty, but to the driver back in the day, it was just another gear you had to shift, you know.
Correct.
What was the horsepower of this?
It's probably 100.
Yeah, which is a lot for
And
1925.
it's pretty light.
Okay, and twin spares, as we've seen before. And you'll see the mirror has the Mercer emblem in it. Well, just a beautiful job. Once again, we're here with my favorite classic car, original and unrestored. This is a, what, a 33 Studebaker?
1933 Studebaker President Speedway Model 92.
Wow, that's a big, long name.
Yes.
And that's when, you know, it's so funny, because I grew up in the era when Studebaker was really kind of a low-priced car. It was in the mid-range field, kind of like with Ford Fairlanes and that kind of stuff. But this was a prestige automobile back in the day, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
And
when they made the cars big.
And where did it come from? Has it always been a California car?
No, this car came out of a barn in Indiana. It was back there. It went in the barn in 1960, and it just came out a year ago.
Wow.
And fortunately, it was on a cement floor.
Yeah, nicely.
So,
well, you know, it's too nice to restore, and You know, I love this class of vehicle because it gives modern day restorers a chance to go back and see how things were done originally. Can we open the hood?
Sure.
And you haven't done the motor?
No, we have not done the motor.
Wow.
We had some stuck valves.
Okay.
And got those unstuck. We put a new head gasket on it.
Right.
And, you know, packed the water pump and redid the brakes and the carburetor, and that's about all we've done.
It's amazing how quiet and smooth these old flathead motors were. What's our cubic inch capacity, do you know?
You know, I don't know the answer to that question.
I imagine it's probably 5 liter. It looks about like that. What's the horsepower, about 100 or 85, something like that?
I think 90.
90 horse, well that was something. Very nice. 4-wheel brakes.
Okay.
How many of these are left, any idea?
9.
9? Wow.
9. 4 of them are running.
Okay.
The rest of them are not running at the moment. Some of them are under restoration of the Speedway model. There were 600 produced.
Is that the original plate? Oh, you got, no, it's a replica. Yeah.
It's a year manufacturer.
Yeah, year manufacturer plate. Very cool. And of course, the thing, big trunk on the back. I have to admit, I never like these trunks on my cars. I always leave them off. I always feel them doing this when I'm going down the road. But
I don't have that problem. The problem with it is that there is absolutely no place in this car.
Yeah.
Except for under the seat to put a couple items, and
right.
You always want to have a few things with you.
And is this the one that came with the car?
It is the correct trunk for the car.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Well, very nice. Very nice. Nice. Don't restore it. Keep it exactly the way it is.
Oh, I don't plan to.
That's great. There's no maintenance. That's the best part. Well, that's a brief look at a classic Car Club America event. If one's in your neighborhood, even if it's not, it's worth driving hours and hours to go to. It's stuff you'll never see anywhere else. See you guys next week.